All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
To the end zone. The energy's too good. And he's got a touchdown. Here goes. Intercepted. First turnover of the game.
Just about sealed the deal for his team.
It's good. And it's going. That's a completion. Touchdown. Touchdown. Unreal effort tonight. Good morning it is on the hill in Larrytown.
This is what college football should look like.
Goodness gracious.
Really nicely done there.
Look at this. Did that just happen?
I don't know if there's a deeper league in college football.
Something special going on. Touchdown. The Big 12 open for business.
Oh, yeah! A big day for a Big 12 reveal. What's Trending, presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. The Big 12 is the MVP today. Jason, we await. It's an hour and 56 minutes away from the Big 12 officially releasing the schedule for all of the Big 12 teams. What is the first thing you will look for when BYU's version of the Big 12 schedule is revealed?
I surprised myself because you would certainly think that the first thing you would look at is the first game, regardless of who it is, where it is, the first game you would play is the Big 12. But my immediate reaction to that question is, where's Texas? There is nothing more Big 12 than Texas. And so I immediately want to see where Texas is on the schedule. I honestly want to see if Texas is on the schedule. There's been a lot of talk nationally that Texas and Oklahoma have put up a fight about not wanting to play the new schools.
They don't want the smoke?
I don't know if that's true or not. I have seen that. I know Dennis Dodd has talked about that in some of his pieces on CBS Sports. So I think I'm curious not just where Texas and Oklahoma are, certainly Texas, but if BYU gets an opportunity to face Texas and Oklahoma.
100%. Guilty as charged, Jason. Right there with you. Except it is Texas and Oklahoma. Just the two of those teams grouped together. Will BYU have an opportunity to play, if not one, but both of them, in what we believe will be the Sooners and Longhorns finale tour of the Big 12?
It feels that way.
I know that they are contracted to be in the Big 12 through 2025 until they go to the SEC. It feels like they're trying to get out at least 1 year early. So this might be the only opportunity for BYU to play Texas and Oklahoma as members of the Big 12 Conference. So, yeah, I'm with you. 100%. When that schedule comes out, where's Texas? Where's Oklahoma? Are those teams on the schedule? When does BYU play them? Where do they play them? I don't even care if BYU has to play 2 road games at Texas and at Oklahoma. I just want them on the schedule.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, like I said, those are the teams that you think of when you think of the Big 12. And so to have an opportunity, even if it's just for 1 year, to be able to play them, because BYU's played them separately at different times, to be able to play them as conference members, that's something on a completely different level. So to find out when and if you get an opportunity to play, and I'm with you. Obviously, I would love to be able to have at least one of them in Provo. That would be fantastic. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But to be able to play either of them or both, regardless of location, I think that's important. And then again, the other thing it comes back to is what does the schedule look like in terms of how difficult is it going to be for BYU? We know it's going to be difficult because it's a step up. It's a new level of competition. But you can sort of look, okay, well, where does the bye fall in? Okay, so how many games do you get to play, and who do you play after the bye? Who do you get a chance to have 2 weeks to prepare for? Those are all those things that are exciting to be able to look forward to with this schedule.
Not only are the brands huge from Texas and Oklahoma, which is why we kind of lean that direction, BYU has enjoyed almost strange success against those two programs, a combined 6-1 against Texas and Oklahoma.
There's almost, Spencer, a part of me that's like, maybe we don't want to face them because then we can always hang on to the record that BYU has against them.
4-1 against Texas, 2-0 against Oklahoma.
I mean, there's that part of me, that fan side that's like, well, maybe we just want to hold on to that record in our back pocket and have that to be able to talk about forever.
You went to the 2014 game.
Yes, in Austin.
Taysom Leap over Texas at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium. I have not watched a college football game in that stadium, so selfishly, I kind of hope that BYU plays a road game at Texas. And I have not watched a college football game in Norman, Oklahoma either. So I wouldn't mind if BYU was on the road for both of those games. If that was the concession that had to happen so that BYU would get to play at Texas and Oklahoma, fine. So be it. I would love to watch college football games in those environments and atmospheres. And frankly, Oklahoma is not in a super great place right now. I don't think that Oklahoma is a world beater at this point. Who knows? 1 year can change everything. Just ask Sonny Dykes and TCU, who were picked to finish near the bottom of the barrel in the Big 12, if not the very bottom. So maybe Oklahoma's awesome. Great, whatever. Let's go. Give me Texas and Oklahoma. Give me an opportunity to watch big-time college football in big-time college stadiums. That's what I really, really want. And then we can go to the chronological factor, Jason. Right? So after Texas, Oklahoma said, okay, well, who is the first game? Who is BYU's first Big 12 game? And who's BYU's first home game in the Big 12 conference?
Well, look, and you've got the fact that you're going to play 9 conference games. So how, you're going to get 4 home and 5 road? You're going to get 5 home and 4 road? Like, those are all things that we have an opportunity to look at. And look, and we obviously, with there being 14 teams in the league, you're obviously not going to play 5 teams. So that does lend itself, if Texas and Oklahoma really put their foot down, it's like, we're not going to play these 4 new schools. That does give them the opportunity to, when you're not going to play 5, you could bypass all 4 new schools and then one other one, and then you're done. If what you and I both think is probably going to happen, where they leave after this upcoming season, it certainly lends itself to that. There's so many things. It's just if you think about it, it's just a schedule release. But there are so many things within the schedule that will answer questions that we have had for months.
Yes. Well, and again, it's the first. It's BYU's first Big 12 schedule. It's always bigger. Cincinnati's feeling the same way. UCF and Houston, they're feeling exactly, and those fan bases are feeling exactly what we're feeling in the BYU community, which is it's the first. So what is it going to look like? And all of those programs probably like BYU fans, hoping that they get a shot at Texas and Oklahoma. It's not going to work out that way because there are 14 teams in the conference for this first football campaign. But, man, a lot of fun to speculate on. And for what it's worth, it appears that TCU had their schedule leaked last night. No official word from TCU's athletic department or the football team or the football administration. But if that schedule is true, then we know at least one BYU game, and that is a road trip to Dallas-Fort Worth on October 14th. So BYU would be taking on the national runners-up and the Big 12, regular season champions, but not the conference championship game champions, in Dallas-Fort Worth on October 14th. So a road game against TCU could be happening. We'll see if that is actually true.
If that turns out to be true, and that's obviously a place that BYU has played before, Amy G. Carter Stadium. I mean, as members, as conference members prior to that, that's one of those ones. Although the stadium is completely different now, they have added a significant number of seats, and the venue looks different
for sure
compared to what it was the last time BYU was in Fort Worth.
Got a little more money in cachet now.
A little more money, yeah. I mean, look, I'm also curious as to who BYU is slated to be rivals with.
Right. Who's in rivalry with?
Look, and we heard, now this was on the basketball side, that BYU and Iowa State may be paired up. So is that something that if that happens, say on the basketball side, is that what they're thinking on the football side? So is that BYU's rival?
Iowa State.
Look, I have my own opinion on where this goes. We're probably going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show.
We will get to that later with the rivalries.
I think there are a couple of different options as to what BYU's rival could be, depending on how you look at it. And I actually flip-flop between two. I finally settled on one, but I'm not 100% confident because honestly, we don't know. That's the thing, is getting this schedule today, and we thought we were going to have it 4 months ago, and then it got kick down the road to the next month and then the next month. That's the other thing. I'm going to assume that there's going to be not just the schedule release, but obviously comments from Commissioner Yormark. I hope we find out eventually why this took. What were the reasons why we went from finding out in November to then December to then January, now, ultimately almost February.
Wow, this is where BYU fans are collectively. I saw a number of people on social media last night saying, I'm booking my hotel in Dallas-Fort Worth on October 12th, 13th, and 14th, just in
to be
case.
safe.
Just in case this TCU game is actually happening then. Like, the excitement levels have reached an all-time high. And I get it. It's a lot of fun. There are some natural rivalries. TCU is one of them based on the history they have against BYU, but so much time has passed and Gary Patterson's not the head coach at TCU anymore. So I wonder if there's been like an expired statute of limitations in that rivalry conversation with TCU.
To a certain extent, I think
Right.
it has been.
Baylor is very quickly becoming an interesting idea as a rival for BYU. And it goes well beyond just what has happened on the football field. They have split the last two games in 2021 and 2022. They split the two back in 83 and 84, and those were dramatic games that you ask Steve Young about that still haunt his nightmares in 1983, preventing a BYU undefeated season. But then all the off-the-field stuff, losing Caleb Lohner in basketball. The Barrington brothers are now competing for the Bears on the offensive line. You have three former BYU coaches on that staff with Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos and A.J. Stewart. There are some natural things already in place for that to become a rivalry. We'll see if the Big 12 feels that way. I doubt it. Maybe it is Iowa State. But again, you can't force it, Jason.
No.
You can't force it. Ask Utah and Colorado.
Yeah.
You can't force stuff like that. There just has to be like a natural
Didn't they give that
buildup.
a name? Wasn't it like the Rocky Mountain something? The Rocky Mountain
rivalry?
Sure,
Rocky
I don't
Mountain
remember.
Showdown?
See, Showdown is what I thought it was too. That stuff cannot be manufactured. Now, you can certainly try to, but that stuff just happens naturally. It happens organically.
Yes.
You can have a rivalry that's manufactured, but the ones that become rivals and rivalries organically, those are the ones that mean more.
Yes, they last.
And yes, you're right. Perfect. They're the ones that last.
BYU's rival will always be Utah.
Yes.
Regardless of going into the Big 12.
Yes.
It will always be Utah. There's just too much history there and too much bad blood and too many classic games that happened organically. We'll discuss a bunch more in about 30 minutes as it pertains to the Big 12 schedule, including what we would put in for the first game, the first home game, what to do during the bye week, what the rivalry game we want to look like actually is. So we'll discuss that coming up again in about 25 or 30 minutes.